My name is Sierra Major, and I'm here to give you some food for thought. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you pretty much a crash course on how to mind your own mind. And when I say mind your own mind, I'm talking about how to think about the way we think. In America, we've got all these different situations, all these problems we're thinking about, but we never think about the systems and the root cause that got us there. So, quick question. When you go to college, what are you really going for? A degree, right? You go for a degree for a job. You use all the things that you learn in college into your new job and into your career. So you would say that your training has a lot of influence on your future, right? So what if I was to tell you that the way we learn has something to do with the uprise of police brutality that we see in the media every single day? So let's get started. Hey guys, I'm back. Did you know by the time you're 21, you've already permanently stored over 100 times of the entire series of encyclopedias? But how's that possible? Now, it's possible through our subconscious. Our subconscious, let's take a moment and think of it as this big memory bank that's capacity is unlimited. And you're storing every single day everything that's ever happened to you. Now, you may be telling yourself, I don't even remember what I had for dinner last night. But deep down, mind is super powerful. It's able to affect your behaviors and your emotions. It's what turns your thoughts and memories into what you use in your everyday life. Now, we see a lot of the times that people that have been bullied may suffer with self-esteem problems or issues relating to that today. For example, if you got bit by a dog when you were a little kid, you may be scared of dogs now because all those memories add up to your future. When we're in college, did you know that we spend on average 5,840 hours a year learning? Now, times that by 4 years. That's going to be over 23,000 hours. So that's a lot that's getting stuffed into your subconscious. And that's going to affect you for a very long time because your college years are supposed to be years that you remember forever. So imagine all of what you're not. What does any of this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with police brutality or the way that we see things in the media today? Well, through my research, I've discovered that I think there's an answer that we're missing. The way that we're teaching our criminal justice majors and we're grooming our future leaders of today is with a subconscious bias mindset. So, I'm going to insert a little clip right here. Now, I'm about to read to you what was in the picture. This is from the course catalog of a PWI called Temple University. It's a very known university. Race and Criminal Justice, 3 credit hours. This is a required course for all criminal justice majors at Temple University. The description goes, the study of the social and cultural, economical, psychological, and political factors associated with race, crime in the United States. The course examines the real and perceived relationships between race, ethnicity, and criminal activity, as well as the impact of both personal and institutional racism on the criminal justice system. Note, this course was formerly taught as urban minorities and criminal justice systems. Students who received credit under their prior title will not receive additional credit because of the content overlaps significantly. This course cannot be used to satisfy. Okay, so you pretty much get the gist of it. So basically what it's telling you is that the description of this course is talking about how race and ethnicities tie into the criminal justice system and the crimes we see today. Now, after speaking with some minority students from Temple University and from Delaware State University, I've come to realize that A lot of the things that are being taught in these classrooms, yes, have very good intentions to teach diversity and to expose certain students from different backgrounds that may not be that comfortable or familiar with minorities, how to be aware of some of the things that are going on. But at the same time, they are shoving horror stories down these students' brains. So, a student from Temple University that wishes to remain nameless and chooses not to be put on video shares a story about her final exam at Temple University this spring. In her race and criminal class, she was told to pick a minority and the worst possible crime that she could think of, and then do a report on it and present it. Now, as using your college experience as the foundation for your career and using your subconscious mind, looking and researching at horror stories and the most violent actions you can and linking it directly and just to a minority, that's going to come out at some point in your career. And I feel as though if we would just break down the barriers and just learn to be a little bit more tolerant of certain crimes and ethnicities and minorities, we wouldn't see as many problems as we see today. So, food for thought. I'm going to insert another clip. And I'm going to read this. This is the course catalog from a HBCU, a historically black university and college from Delaware State University, where I go. And it reads right here. We also have a class very similar to it. Race and ethnic relations. The primary purpose of this course is to examine interracial and interethnic relations. Students will gain a historical understanding of race and ethnic relations in the United States. Topics will include racial and ethnic identities, prejudice, discrimination, stereotypes, migration, colorblind racism, white institutions such as the criminal justice system. Okay. So this course is pretty much the same in some ways as it does focus on race and different minorities. But when speaking to students that attend this course at Delaware State University that unfortunately also wish to remain nameless, that have shared their stories, say that this class actually sheds some light on some of the injustices that have been done towards race, but also some of the crimes that has been taught. So it gives like a good 50-50 blend. Now, what do we do now? When it comes to these two different institutions, we see that the one that is more carefully put and has a well blend is at a historically black institution. Now that may be because we're dealing with majority of minority students. And at the PWI, we're dealing with a lot of people that may not have been exposed to these different cultures and ethnicities and diversity issues. So it may not be such an intentional harmful thing. It may just be an ignorance thing. So this video was only supposed to be 5 minutes, but it's going on a little bit closer to 10. So let's connect the dots and wrap up what we have. Now, we learned that the subconscious is something that every living human being has, and it controls our emotions, behaviors, and thoughts. And it takes control of every single thing that we've ever learned. 2, we've also learned that we spend over 23,000 hours in our college careers, and that the college experience is the framework and the training for the lives and the futures that we live in the future. 3, we've learned that in PWIs and HBCUs, we see a difference in a rise in an issue of tolerance, ignorance, and diversity in the classroom when it comes to our future leaders in our criminal justice majors, which should connect the dots a little bit more as to why we see police brutality and we see a mindset of Black Lives Matters, White Lives Matters, All Lives Matters movements, because we're refusing to realize that maybe we're subconsciously feeding ourselves these bad messages. And if we're feeding ourselves these bad messages, it's going to come out without us knowing. So ask yourself the question, are people consciously making these decisions, or is this a learned, conditioned effect of society? The choice is yours to follow social norms or to speak up, stay informed, and choose to make a difference. My name is Sierra Major Colazo. Thanks for listening.